Bonjour les élèves. Today we're going to talk about the very last of our object pronouns, le pronom en. Now with the pronom en, we actually saw this last year. I don't know if you remember it, but at the very beginning of the year we saw it used in sentences like this. The question, il y a combien de fenêtres dans la salle de classe? There are how many windows in the classroom? Well, we learned that we could answer it with il y a 5 fenêtres, or we could answer with il y en a 5, where instead of repeating the noun fenêtre, we use the pronoun en to say there are 5 of them. Now before I get into what en means and what it replaces, let's take a minute to review everything we've learned about les pronoms objets. Now this is a chart that you can put in your notes if you want, or you can just kind of listen to me go through it just to review with you all of the object pronouns that we know. So let's start with the object pronoun me. En anglais, me means me or to me, and it would be replacing moi or à moi. Te means you when you're talking to one person informally, and it's going to replace toi or à toi. Nous, as an object pronoun, means us, and it's going to replace à plus somebody and moi. So it's like somebody's name et moi, or mes amis et moi, or ma famille et moi, but it's where it's me and one other person. Vous means you, formally, or you all, if you're talking more than one person, and it's going to replace à and somebody et toi, so you plus someone else. Le is the direct object pronoun for it or him, and it's going to replace a masculine singular direct object. Remember, direct objects are things that, or people, that directly receive the action of a verb. La means it or her, and it's going to replace a feminine singular direct object. Les means them. It's going to replace plural direct objects. Lui is the third person indirect object, and it means to him or to her. Lui is going to replace à plus one person. Leur means to them, and it's going to replace à plus more than one person, or à plus plural people. And then I, the most recent of our object pronouns, I means there, and it replaces a preposition and a place. Now remember, these are all object pronouns, so when you use them to replace something, the object pronoun goes in front of the verb in the new sentence. Okay, so our last object pronoun, the object pronoun en. En is going to replace the word de, which remember means of, or it could be the partitive article de, plus a noun. So it could be like du or de and then a noun. En is also going to be used to replace nouns that follow the word en or une, or numbers. If you think about it, en and une are numbers, or expressions of quantity. For example, I could use en to replace de fraises in the sentence j'ai beaucoup de fraises. Or I could replace kilo de framboises in the sentence il achète 2 kilos de framboises. So if I wanted to say he's buying 2 kilos of them, then I would use en to replace the kilo de framboises. Alright, so what does en mean? En means some, any, of it, or of them. So when we use it in sentences, it could be any of those. I often see that it's more frequently translated as of them, but some, any, of it are also possibilities. So here's a couple of examples showing it in use. So if somebody said, il y a combien de bouteilles? There are how many bottles? You could answer, il y en a 5. Now we could say, il y a 5 bouteilles, but sometimes we don't want to repeat a noun, and so we use a pronoun to replace it. Because bouteille follows the word de, we would use en to replace both de and bouteille. If you look at this one, tu achètes beaucoup de crevettes, you're buying a lot of shrimp. If I didn't want to say, yeah, I'm buying a lot of shrimp, but I wanted to say, yes, I'm buying a lot of them, I would replace de and crevettes with en. En would go in front of the verb, and I would say je n'achète beaucoup. Here's another example. Tu as mangé 2 sandwiches? You ate 2 sandwiches? If I wanted to say, yeah, I ate 2 of them, instead of saying, yes, I ate 2 sandwiches, I would replace the word that follows the number, which is sandwich. I would replace that by en and put it in front of the verb. Now, this sentence is in the passé composé. So remember, in the passé composé, we've seen this a few times, pronouns go in front of both the helping verb and the past participle. So to say I ate 2 of them, je n'ai mangé 2. Now, since we have learned all of our object pronouns, let's go back and review that megaphone. And remember the word order that we would use if we're going to use more than one object pronoun in a sentence, which is going to be more common now that we know the pronoun I for there and en for of them. So first, if we want to say me, you, us, or you all, moi, tu, nous, and vous will go first before le, la, les, which would go before lui and leur. We've already seen this. We've already used this. I is next in the lineup, and then en is the last one, like en, like a donkey. So I had a student ask me, could you put this to a song? And I've never really been able to come up with a good song for this word order. So I'll let maybe one of you guys figure that out and let me know what you come up with. But this is the word order. Usually we only have 2 pronouns, never more than that. So we might have, if we want to say I'm taking it there, or I bought some of it for him, something like that. We would probably only use 2 of these, but this is the word order that we have to memorize. Alright, so here's a couple examples with 2 pronouns in it. So if we want to say, you're buying a dozen eggs for mom, tu achètes une dizaine d'œufs pour maman, we would replace both the object une dizaine, which is a expression of quantity, une dizaine d'œufs, we'd replace that with en. Pour maman would be replaced by lui. Lui, based on the rule of the megaphone, goes before en. So to say, I bought it for her, then, or some of them for her, I would say, je lui en achète. Now, I could add une douzaine to that, to say I bought a dozen of them. That would be fine. Or I could just say, je lui en achète. For this sentence, nous envoyons une carte postale à nos grands-parents. You're sending a postcard to your grandparents. If we're going to replace both the objects, une carte postale and à nos grands-parents, our answer would be, oui, nous leur en envoyons une. Yes, we're sending one of them to them. See how I put the word une, the number une, after envoyons to say one of them, to be specific. Alright, so I have a couple sentences that I really think you should try. Since this is pretty complex kind of concept, it would be really good practice for you to write these sentences, there's just 3, into your notes and replace the objects with a pronoun. So if you take the first sentence, je nage à la piscine souvent, you've got to figure out what the object is. Well, it's a place. Remember which object we use to replace places. Put that object in the right place in the sentence to say, I swim there often. So what would really be a good idea is if you would write these down, replace the objects. So pause it for a second, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the right answers to these. Okay, so hopefully you paused it and you tried this. To say, I swim at the pool often, j'y nage souvent. To say, we are buying a lot of pineapples, we would replace d'ananas, the word de, and the noun that follows it with en, and that would go in front of achetons. Nous en achetons beaucoup. To say, instead of Eric is buying some beef at the supermarket, now here's a sentence that has 2 objects. We would replace du boeuf, because that's a noun that follows de. Au supermarché, we'd replace that with I, and we would say, Eric y en achète, because I goes before en. Okay, so that does it for our last of our object pronouns, and we will continue to practice with this all year long. Au revoir les élèves.